What is going on, guys and girls, and welcome to the Be More podcast. And now this is going to be the first solo podcast you're going to see with your host, Jack Williams. Now, with it being a really busy period, Christmas is coming up, I've decided, turn my phone over there while it's going off, I've decided that I'm going to do the podcast. Me and Simon basically said, let's do a solo podcast for a month whilst it's Christmas, and I'm going to Sydney on Wednesday, so I'm just going to basically do podcasts on my own for a month, try and add as much value as I can from my own experience and what I'm up to at the minute, and try and basically just try and drop some value and give you guys some motivation going into the new year. And yeah, then when I'm back from Sydney, it'll be all operations go and working at the Be More podcast actual vision and the goals, which were to interview people with different stories to try and spread some inspiration and motivation to you guys so that you can get some improvements in your life and live a happier and more fulfilled living life. And that's basically the goal. So with that being said, I'm going to crack on with today's topic, which is going to be New Year's resolutions. Now, this is like take 3 of recording this podcast because I've tried to use an app on my phone whilst walking, which I'm still working on. So if you're a podcast geek and you're listening to this and you know a way of me being able to walk and talk to my phone and then create a podcast, then you are someone I want to speak to. I've tried using the app Anchor, but I'm struggling to figure it out. I need to watch some tutorials really. But anyway, that's probably the first tangent so far of the podcast, but there will be plenty more. Yeah, goal setting, New Year's resolutions. So that's today's topic. And goal setting is something I'm a huge advocate of, and I get all my clients to set goals, and I try and make them as niche as possible. So just having a goal like, oh, I'm going to quit smoking, or I'm going to lose some weight, that they're never normally powerful enough to actually make you take action on them and be consistent and stick to them, which is the problem with New Year's resolutions, right? So 99% of the resolutions that are made don't last past February, and the stats for that are crazy. That's why people don't bother making resolutions anymore. But goal setting is so powerful, and I can't explain to you enough how much I want you guys to set goals off the back end of listening to this podcast. But there's things that I put in place to make you realise the best way to set a goal, because it isn't just like, oh, this is what I want to do, because realistically your day-to-day actions have to align with that goal. So I talk a lot about reverse engineering the goal you've got and how your day-to-day actions have to be in alignment with getting you toward, like moving the needle to get you towards that goal, making that actually a reality. So make sure your goal is really super specific, and actually something that makes you fucking get up in the morning and gets you that fire in the belly. Because I've had goals before, right? And what I'll do actually is I'll share my actual current goal, and then that should give you hopefully a little bit of insight into how I've set goals in the past, and they haven't been nowhere near that. They haven't been a powerful enough why for me to actually take enough action on it to make it actually become a reality. Whereas now my why is more powerful than ever, and this stems from, I think, just mainly from a conversation that I had with a lad on a train in Kuala Lumpur. Was it Kuala Lumpur? So we were basically going to visit these caves called the Batu Caves. I think it was Kuala Lumpur. Correct me if I'm wrong if you know your Southeast Asia. But we've jumped on this train, and this group of lads have said to me, oh, can I get a photo with you? And I'm like, this is weird. I'm like, sure. And then I asked them, why do you want a photo with me? And basically I said, because I had tattoos and I had some muscle. By this point I hadn't trained for 8 weeks. I was like, you're joking, aren't you? But anyway, I had a photo with these guys, and then I got chatting to one of them, and he was basically asking me lots of questions, and then we were just, his English was amazing. And I'm actually sharing a blog on this on my new website, so you can go and read that as well if you want. But basically he introduced me to the powerful whys. So I've read a lot of books, and I've done a lot of research into goal setting, and I wanted to discover what was the main way to make a goal actually become a reality. And it was, these people were saying it's got to be a really powerful why, that you've got to really want it. And I'm like, but I do really want it. But then now I realise from chatting to this lad how powerful a why can actually be, and I was like, I need to find my why. And anyway, he's told me his why, and it's got me pumped, and I'll share that in the blog so you can go and read that. But I almost cried after speaking to this lad, and I can't cry in front of this lad, because it really touched me what he was saying. And I was like, I can't cry in front of me, take a photo of me because I'm tanked up and I've got some tattoos. Anyway, I've got back to our hostel late that night, and I was in the shower, and I was just like, that probably is like a life-changing moment for me, and that's why I recommend to anyone to go to like Southeast Asia and just to see the culture, because for me that changed my life. I lived a very like sheltered childhood and always went to nice places. So I've been looked after so well and brought up so well that I never really get an opportunity to see things like that, and gratitude and perspective was something that I really, well, it wasn't something I had in my life until this year, until I saw different cultures, and I was like, fucking hell, like I've got it so good now. I have no right to sit and moan about things that I moan about. Like I used to get that upset about stupid little things like not taking something off my list that day on my productivity list, when there's people on the other side of the world like starving or working 19-hour shifts just to try and support their family, and I'm moaning about that. Like, fuck off, Jack. That's literally what I thought, and my life has changed since. I don't, or at least I try not to get too involved with the rat race, and then getting it to like having some perspective and actually changing my goals. And my goals now are that that none of them are financial. They're more about creating meaningful relationships and just living a happier, more like fulfilled life. But having said that, one of them does revolve around finances, because I basically, when I was traveling, my dad said to me, "You're doing something that I've always wanted to do, and I'm going to do it when I retire." And I was like, "Yeah, that's amazing. I've inspired my dad to want to do something." And since I've been thinking about it. Now, I don't think my dad listens to this podcast, so I can talk about this. But he basically said, "I want to travel when I retire, and I want to take Sonia." And Sonia's like his wife, who he got married to this year, and that's another story for another day. But that was like a proper emotional day for me as well. Like, I'm so happy for my dad getting married this year. But Sonia's a little bit older than my dad, and I don't think Sonia listens to either, so I can be rude about her age. But so when my dad retires, he'll be 70, and I think Sonia will be like, I think Sonia's about 10 years older than my dad, maybe a little bit less. So she'll be less mobile then than she is currently, right? So I'm thinking, in order for him to be able to go and do this, the goal he's got set and travel, like, he's got no chance. That they can't do it in a way that I did it, and I was like running around and doing all these things. They won't be able to do it in a way that where they can see as much. Like, you can't when you're that old. So I'm thinking, how can I make my dad's goal of to travel and to be like free? How can I free my dad up, because he'd worked 50-hour weeks plus since I was little to give me the lifestyle that I've got today. And I still live at home now. Like, I've told you my story. I've moved out briefly and moved back home. When I go back from Sydney, I'm going to move out again. But he's literally grafted to create the lifestyle that, for us, that me and my brother, that we've got. Every year took us on holiday, and he doesn't actually. I think he enjoys his job, but it's not something that he loves doing. Like, I literally work nearly every minute of the day, but I love what I do. So for me, like, it isn't work. Whereas my dad has to go to work. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's different. Like, most people have to go to work. Like, I'm probably an anomaly where I literally just love every minute of what I do, and I'm so lucky and so grateful for that. But I genuinely don't think I'd be doing this if it wasn't for the way I was brought up, and the support I had, and it created a platform for me to be able to do these things and take risks and be self-employed, and it's only just starting to pay off now. But anyway, back to that. Like, I want to be able to. My dad and my mum made that possible for me, so I want to be able to give back. And my dad's never going to be able to fulfill his travelling goals, and so if I can create enough income to like financially free my dad, then that for me is the goal. Whereas before, I'd set goals like, I want to earn this much per year. It didn't motivate me, because it wasn't going to change my life. Whereas if I can actually give my dad, like, seeing my dad send me a selfie walking down like the Wall of China, for example, that for me would be like, yeah, I've done something. Whereas looking at my bank balance and seeing a lot of money, that doesn't do fuck all. There's a lot of rich people in this world who are depressed, are unhappy. But I want to make a difference in people's life, and that's where my goals have changed, and that's why I'm trying to get this podcast out to make you realise, going into January, make your New Year's goal powerful. And even if you have to go, you might not be able to think about it. You're probably listening to this now thinking, what's my goal? And you might not know it. And I didn't know mine for a long, long time. And it wasn't until I went through like lots of self-discovery and just learning about myself, and it just you fall into it. It'll become, or you can go looking for it, but basically don't just set a goal and be like, I want to lose 20 pounds. Why? What difference is that going to make in your life? Then you have something to work towards. If you imagine how you'll be if you're 20 pound lighter, what will that be the difference? Do you know what I mean? Obviously I'm talking to the camera and to the podcast as if you're going to reply, but you're not. But make it just a powerful reason why. And secondly, with your goal setting, don't make it an aggressive thing that just isn't going to be sustainable. So for example, the most popular training program at the minute is an 8-week program. And I've got a lot of clients right now who have done that 8-week program and have come to me to be rescued because of how aggressive it was, and it doesn't create sustainable change. It doesn't create results that you can keep. You get shredded or you get great weight loss, but it's so intense that you can't keep it up, and then you just gain weight again. And then you're looking for another coach to try and give you a different approach that's more sustainable. And that's something that I'm working with a lot of clients in the minute that have had that. So don't go looking for this aggressive approach. It doesn't work. It will give you initial quick results, but you can't sustain them. So I can't stress how important it is not to fall for down the trap of, I want to see this much weight loss in this many weeks. Like, think long term. Like, I'm reading 2 books. I've read 2 books so far this month. One's called The Slight Edge, and one's called The Compound Effect. The best thing you can possibly do would be to read both, or at least read one of them, and it will change your mindset and the way you think about your day-to-day actions and what you do. It will seriously change that. But if this is like a story that comes from the compound effect that I'm going to refer to now. So I've taken a few bits from the book that are going to be really worth listening to, that can help you apply some really, just basically give you some inspiration going into the new year and think about your goals that you're going to set for 2018. Now, 2018 for me and for my team is going to be the best year yet, because I just know it is. Like, 2017 for me has been the most influential year of my life, and it's been the warm-up. 2018 is going to be so huge, and I'm going to continue doing the habits that I've put in place, that I've started building this year, and I know they're going to make a big difference in my life and the people that are around me and the clients that I'm training. But back to the compound effect, and this is what basically how they started a chapter. So, have you ever been bitten by an elephant? You haven't, have you? Let's face it, you haven't. But how about a mosquito? It's the little things in life that will bite you. So it's the little things that we do every single day that are going to create the long-lasting change in our lives. So why would we then go and make a drastic change in our life? Because realistically, we're not going to be able to sustain it. But this is why 99% of people fail with resolutions. 1%, they succeed because they're freaks. They're freaks, and they can withstand huge change in life. Whereas most people can't withstand that, and that's not making you a lesser person. That's just being realistic. It's stupid. To expect to make a huge change in your life and then be able to sustain it, like stopping smoking, or like trying to lose 3 stone. Like, you're the way you are and the weight you are because of the way you live your life. So to expect to lose 3 stone by changing the way you live your life completely is just unsustainable. Unless your why is really great, which is what I spoke about a minute ago about your why being really important. There is ways to make, like, I'm not saying you can't work and can't create a body transformation. Like, look at my results on Facebook and on my website, that you can transform your body in a short period of time. But there has to be a process that you go through to make that something that you can sustain. Like, I've got a lot of people in shape, but they've fallen out of shape just as fast because it isn't sustainable. But more recently, I've focused more on sustainability, and now I'm getting people in shape and keeping them in shape. And that for me is my main goal. Because it isn't about getting in shape for one event or one day and then losing it because the whole approach was unsustainable. For me, that's fucked. That's why I'm not competing anymore. I'm just going to try and stay in unbelievable shape all year round, and I'm enjoying this way more than being out of shape for 9 months of the year and in shape for 2 weeks. Do you know what I mean? That makes not really here, but yeah. So it's the little things you have to control. So I've got an example that is from the book of 3 friends who are very, very similar. So they're all married. They get a little bit of that belly fat from marriage, but they're all similar kind of body weight, similar income, similar lifestyles, right? And they all set 3 goals in the new year. Well, I'll tell you all of them. One of them, let's call him Larry. He's the plodder, and he thinks, do you know what, I'm good. I'm not setting resolutions. I'm gonna keep living my life the way I fucking want because I'm happy. He's content, right? But really, he does complain a lot about the fact nothing's changing in his life, but he's not bothered enough to make a difference. So that's Larry. That's the guy who's sacked off New Year's resolutions, he thinks they're stupid. But then in comparison, his mate Scott, he starts making seemingly inconsequential changes that are positive to his day-to-day life. So he reads 10 pages a day of a self-help book, or a book that is of in an area that interests him. And actually, quick tangent, if you were to read 10 pages a day of a book in an area that interests you, within 2 years you'll have the equivalent of a PhD in that area, providing the books are decent and that you've taken in the information. How fucking cool is that? 10 pages a day. It's so easy to do and so easy not to do. And it's something that I've started doing in my life, and it is making such a big change. I'm trying to get lots of people involved in doing it because it's making me, it's making such a big difference. And I've had books for years and years and years, right? Since I finished university. I went to university, didn't read a fucking single book. And since I finished, I've been buying books like monthly, and they're just sat on the shelf, and they'll get picking up dust. And I'd look at them and I'd be like, I'm going to read that. And then you never get around to doing it because it's so easy to pick it up, but so easy not to. And it's easier to just sit there scrolling through social media or watching shit programs on Netflix. They're good, to be fair, but they're not serving a purpose, and they're not actually, other than fun. I don't find social media fun, but unless I'm engaging with cool people. So yeah, just get off Facebook for once and read 10 pages a day. Like it'll change your life, trust me. So Scott started doing that. He's also cut 125 calories a day from his diet, so that you can't even notice that. He basically would swap mayo for low-fat mayo, or he'd swap Coke for Diet Coke. Literally, a change in his day that he doesn't even notice making. He also walks 2,000 steps extra a day. So he gets himself a Fitbit for Christmas, or an Apple Watch. There's an extra 2,000 steps a day. It's like 10 minutes of walking. Doesn't even notice it. Stuff that anyone can do. And it's easy to do and easy not to do, like the 10 pages a day. Little things that he can control. And then there's the third mate, it's Brad. He starts making some small changes in his life too, but they're not so positive. He buys a big brand new curved TV, 60-inch. And he gets a love for watching these baking channels. And he starts baking. And he falls in love with it. It's fun. He's baking cakes for the family. And it's good fun. And he sees it as a positive change. I think it's something that he's got a purpose to do. Problem is, he's eating more. He's also got a new little mini bar, so he can be really social. And now, I am all about people, and I love this, but at the same time, this is where the compound effect goes to work. So he's got this new mini bar, he socialises in it once a week. So he gets a little bit more, basically his intake of calories is going up. Okay, so 5 months down the line, there's very little difference. So they go for their beer together, and no one really notices the difference. But they're making small changes to their lifestyle, but they're all still the similar body weight, no body weight changes really, very, very little anyway. 10 months go by, the changes are starting to become quite noticeable now. 18 months go by, the changes are huge, like literally huge. If we go back to each character, Larry's obviously the plodder, he's the same. Scott, he's done all this reading, he's almost 2 years in, so he's almost got the equivalent of a PhD in these self-help books. His mindset's different. He's helping people to live more, like get more out of every day. His income's gone up. His marriage is better. His weight's come down. Things are starting to change. And then you've got Brad. He's gaining weight, and he's getting less and less happy because of the fact that he's gaining weight, and he's not happy with his job. He's getting more and more unhappy. His marriage is failing. Okay, 31 months down the line. So basically, like almost 3 years. And they're still doing these small little things, right? Small little things every day. Now, 940 days, which is 31 months, of 125 calories a day. Such a small amount, right? That's the equivalent of 117,500 calories. Still not many, considering I did 10,000 in one day. So 125,000 divided by 3,500. 3,500 is like the typical amount of calories they reckon's in a pound of body weight. So that's 33 pounds of weight. So Brad's gained that because his calorie intake has gone up by 125. Probably way more than that, by the way, but let's say it is 33 pounds. And then you've got Scott, who's lost 33 pounds. So the difference in weight is 66 pounds. That's a lot of weight in 3 years from little things that you don't even notice happening in your day. Little things, little lifestyle tweaks that you don't even notice. Scary, yeah, because you've got Scott has spent over 1,000 hours reading self-help books, and his life and marriage is thriving. Like thriving. He's earning more money. His marriage is going really well. He's happy in every area of his life. He's in better shape. He's even started lifting in the gym as well. I mean, now you're talking. Now you're talking. And I don't know if he has, because it doesn't say in the book, but if he's up to his protein as well, I imagine that Scott has got a decent rig by now. Larry's still Larry. He's still plodding, but he's getting more and more unhappy because he's not seen any positive changes in his life. It's just getting boring. And that just shows the power of the compound effect. So if you're going to make changes in 2020, in 2018, make them ones that you can sustain. Make them changes that you can implement into your life every day that's easy to manage, but still moves the needle towards where you want to be. And just think, I really want to, let's say you want to look a certain way, because a lot of people, it's all about the image these days. You want to look a certain way. Rather than thinking, I'm going to get to that goal in 2 months, you can go that way, but just do it in a way that's where you're looked after and you're doing things in a sensible way. So I've got clients who want to do photo shoots in 3 months. Yeah, that's fine. I'll just do it in a way where I look after them. But there's not many coaches or PTs or people who know how to do that. And it's taken me 5 years in my job to discover that. So, yeah, but make sure your goals, let's come away from the quick fix, okay? Let's think more long term. Let's think, if I do these small things every day, in a couple of years I'm gonna look insane. And you will. But if you keep thinking down the thought process of, I'm gonna be as aggressive as possible and getting myself these results, yeah, by the end of February you'll have lost a stone maybe or whatever. But then in March you'll gain that back on again because you can't sustain the changes and you'll binge at the end of it because the diet's too aggressive. And it's the same in any area, right? Like if you buy 6 books and you try reading them all in a month, you can't sustain that level of time you have to commit to doing that every day. It's the same as, like 10 pages a day doesn't take long. 2,000 steps doesn't take long. Tracking your food in MyFitnessPal doesn't take long. And they're easy things that you can do or not do. And if you're, my area, right, is body transformation. Again, people are looking insane. If your goal is that, the things you need to implement into your day, right, is adequate protein intake. So basically you're tracking your calories, right? You're regulating the calorie intake, you're eating adequate protein, you're doing some kind of exercise, you're doing a little bit extra with regards to your output, if your goal is fat loss, so you want to burn a few more calories by doing a little bit more. Get yourself an Apple Watch or a Fitbit, keep an eye on your steps, regulate them 4 things, and you'll have a very different body this time next year. It's just consistency. And they're results that you can keep, right? They aren't results that you get and then lose, which is what everyone seems to fucking do. This is why it's yo-yo, right? The world we live in is yo-yo. It's unsustainable methods of getting into shape or getting into business or getting into relationships. And that you're at a certain, like for example, in a relationship, right? I'm single. I have no place to make any kind of relationship advice. But if you go and start dating someone and you start being someone that you're not, but by trying to impress that person, 3 months down the line, they're not going to be together anymore because you'll start being yourself and that person won't even like you. Because they think, oh, you're different from the person that I met. And then in reality, you're not. You're just not putting a fucking front on to try and get that person in bed with you. Or to get that person to go out with you, whatever. So hopefully that added some value into your 2018 goal setting and hopefully it's got you pumped to think more, like be patient, right? Be patient with what you're working towards, but ensure that even though your patience is like, I think the term Gary Vaynerchuk uses is macro patience, but then micro like activity and then action, right? So you've got this big goal that you know that's like a year, 2 years away, that you're going to be like a performing machine. But you're only going to get there if your daily like activities and day-to-day life is actually doing things that makes you move the needle to get there. Because the majority of people you're around, right, they're not doing anything to work towards their goal every day. They're not. They're simply not. It's just the world we live in. Very few % of people will actively work towards the goals they've got set. And if you can create things in your day that are easy to manage and easy to do and easy not to do, that you enjoy doing, that make you enjoy your life more by you doing them, you're not only going to enjoy your life more every day, but you're going to get to that long-term goal. And you've guaranteed success. And success is so subjective. And it isn't financial, it isn't the way you look, it's subjective to what you deem success to be. So find out what you deem success to be, find out what your why is, and fucking control every day to work towards that. Because that's all you can do. But unless you're working on what you can control, you can only control you, right? You can't control other people. You can't control things that you're not in control of, that you can't control the next car Jaguar release, unless you're the owner of Jaguar. So and you can't control what everyone people think of you either, nor should you give a fuck. But we get lost in this idea that we need to be pleasing other people all the time. And yes, it's great to please other people, but focus on you first, because that's all you can control. And then once you focus on you as the first thing, and that you're doing things to make you happy, then you can make other people happy. Because if you're happy and you're good, trust me, everything else will fucking work fine, because you'll gravitate that positive energy towards you. The law of attraction is fucking real, and yeah, everything just will work if you're happy. But you can't make other people happy if you're not happy yourself. So control your day-to-day actions to ensure that your long-term goals are met. Know what they are, get clued up on your why, and 2018 will create results for you that you've never seen before, simply because your why and your day-to-day activities are in alignment, and they're real, and they're sustainable, and they're ones you can keep working with, and they're ones that you can be progressive with. Because let's face it, 2,000 steps extra a day, you can probably push that up after a few months, so you'll be like, that's easy now. I feel like doing a bit extra, do an extra 500 steps, maybe an extra 1,000, maybe get up 10 minutes earlier and do something impactful in your day. Little changes, right, that you can make that are so small and so subtle, but they'll move the needle faster. And that compound interest and that compound effect will then create results that you want. So, yeah, 2018 is the year. We're going to fucking smash it, ain't we? If you're listening, I'm going to be bringing as much value as I can to this podcast. I'm hoping to try and give you value, inspire you, motivate you, and empower you to make daily decisions that are going to help you make your life better, which is the goal I've got set. And yeah, if you've enjoyed this podcast, the solo, let me know, and I'll try and make them happen way more frequently. And I might even do them in the new year and combine them with obviously the interviews and the podcasts that I share with Simon. And if you found it useful, yeah, let me know. Make sure you rate the podcast on iTunes. Share it with someone that you know isn't listening, if you feel like it would benefit them as well. That would mean the world to me. And just DM me. Like, if you're listening to this right now, screenshot it and post it on your Instagram story and tag me in it, and I'll just have a chat with it, because I want to know what people think of the podcast. I want to know how I can add more value, what subjects you want me to talk about, and what little things I can help with. And I just want to engage with people. I want to make a difference in people's lives. That's my goal. That's why I'm doing this podcast. So yeah, talk to me. I want to know if it's helping. I want to know what you want to hear, and I want to make a difference in as many people's lives as I can in 2018, and that's my genuine goal. And I'm going to make it happen, and I'm going to keep working hard, because I know that it's all macro patience for me. I'm patient as fuck, and I'm just going to keep doing my due diligence, doing my work, doing these podcasts weekly, and it will come together. And it's just knowing that, having that self-belief, that self-confidence, and just going to work at your day-to-day activities to make the long-term things happen for you. And unless you're controlling your day-to-day, you can't get to the long-term. And that's the way it is. So yeah, have a fucking amazing Christmas. And I hope that I can drop this podcast in before then, and you can maybe listen to it on your Christmas walk or your Boxing Day walk, or you go for a little run to burn a few pigs in blankets. But yeah, have an amazing Christmas and enjoy it with the people you're closest to, because it's such an amazing time of year to be around your family and have a bit of time away from work and a bit of time to reflect and just be around people that you love. And I love Christmas for that reason. I've said that I am fucking off to Sydney on the 27th of December, but I'll try and bring some awesome content your way. It's from Australia. Keep an eye on my Instagram stories. I'm sure I'll be doing some cool shit. And on YouTube, I'll be doing some vlogs. So yeah, have a great day. Have a great Christmas. If you're going to get a book, this is a good one, Compound Effect. Another good book for goal setting is the 12-week year as well. And if you want to control things daily and have it written down in front of you, the Best Self Journal. I've got it all here in front of me and I'm using them all. So yeah, have a great Christmas, guys. I love you all. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch up with you very, very soon.